faster than ever. Negative speed forces were too much, even for me. And now, Barry, everyone is dead.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my Flash Season 6, Episode 7 video, Part 1 of the two-part mid-season finale right before Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I'll explain the schedule at the end of the video and remind everybody about when everything is happening. We're doing the Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your favorite moment from the episode on the video. So careful for spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode yet, there were a whole bunch of Easter eggs. They are doing a lot of Flash Rebirth stuff from the comics. But top 10 WTF and Easter eggs, starting with number 10, Ralph versus Ramsey Rosa. So he infects Ralph with his black goo, it interacts with Ralph's DNA, then he takes it back out. That's the key to him controlling all those goo zombies from the previous episodes. He screams about his destiny to save all of mankind, typical villain monologuing, going all crazy and over the top. They explained that because Barry's blood type is O negative, his speed healing might be able to help Ralph. Based on the arc of the episode, I'm assuming because they sent Ralph to an Argus facility to finish healing that they'll pay that off in next week's episode, and we'll find that his sacrifice to save Ralph helped him live, and that'll just be one of the things that helps him feel better about maybe dying and sacrificing himself during Crisis on Infinite Earths. Oh, I'm dying so that they can live, just like I saved Ralph. I almost died so that he could live. It'll make a lot more sense in a couple weeks when Crisis actually starts. But because of the transfusion, some of Ramsey's blood was able to infect Barry, and now he's got a mind space Ramsey that's able to just pop up anytime he wants and speak to him to try and take over his body for the rest of the episode. And because he's inside his mind, he instantly has access to everything that Barry knows, so he knows what Barry saw when he sent his mind into the future to see Crisis on Infinite Earths. He's surprised to learn that there is no version of events where he's still there, so that means that he either dies or they throw him into one of Chester P. Runk's black holes, and that's why he's not around in any of the versions of Crisis. Barry didn't say that Ramsey was dead, he just said that he wasn't around for Crisis. Number 9, Welcome to Black Hole. So they're using the Black Hole storyline for Iris to investigate the mystery of their organization. They just sort of tee that off with the guy walking around with the black hole pin on his lapel. Why would you walk around wearing that pin? It'd be like a Bond villain walking around wearing a Spectre pin to let everybody know that he was a member of the super secret organization, Spectre. If you're not familiar with Black Hole from the comics, I'll talk about them in a second. They're a really big organization from the Flash Rebirth comics that get into a lot of Speed Force research. Number 8, the Speed Force wormhole alien, in the form of his mother, comes back to speak to Barry. It's probably the same form that he's spoken to in the past, even though it speaks of itself in first person, like it's collectively the same entity. There's not a bunch of different Speed Force wormhole aliens. It's all one consciousness. It's just always taken the form of his mother because that's easier for Barry to understand and connect with. But he gives him the business, explains what the stakes are for the episode. He's trying to take over your body. You'll become something so worse. It even tells him later in the episode, all the best parts of you will be subsumed. Even if you're able to survive, it won't be the version of you that everyone's come to know and love. Most of the episode for Barry took place inside his head. So number 7, the Spider-Man Far From Home Mysterio horror montage of illusions. They did the exact same thing that Mysterio did during Spider-Man Far From Home, showing him a bunch of horror-like nightmares in how he might be able to save everyone. Because we know that Marvel exists within the world of the Flash, maybe he also saw Spider-Man Far From Home and thought that'd be a good idea to borrow that trick from Mysterio. I love the horror sequence of them at Thanksgiving dinner and the reveal that the black goo was inside the lasagna and them all eating. You have to remember all the actors filming that scene having to stuff their faces with that black goo. No idea what it's made of. Usually it winds up being a lot of corn syrup and food dye to make it look like this black goo. But it is safe to eat, like they're not poisoning the actors while they're doing this scene. Barry didn't really start to lose it till he saw the version of baby Nora with the excess symbols spinning above her head. She was wearing little unicorn pajamas. I just want to hold her a little bit. He really started freaking out. He shows him a different version of the future newspaper, Flash Saves Everyone. Then number 6, Barry sees Reverse Flash again for the first time this season. They kind of acknowledge what happened in the Season 5 finale with Nora getting wiped from the timeline in Reverse Flash, but we haven't actually seen him on screen yet, and he's a big part of Crisis on Infinite Earths, so it makes sense that they would wait till right before the crisis to sort of tease him again. I don't know when he's actually physically going to be on screen again. I'm assuming if he doesn't show up in next week's episode in the post-credit scene, he'll just show up during one of the first episodes of Crisis, because he is one of the most powerful people on Earth 1. I also loved all the tombstones of the dead Team Flash members. Those are all the people that have died since Season 1. He's trying to pin this all on Barry. If you've seen Spider-Man Far From Home, you know exactly how this plays out. I did think it was interesting that the Speed Force, when it would carry Barry from one vision to the next, like it speeds him into his childhood bedroom to make him feel safe, it almost looks like Nora's Speed Force lightning with the two different colors, with the purple and the yellow color. For a brief second, I thought that Nora might have something to do with that, or a version of Nora from the future, but the way they played it during the episode, it was just the Speed Force wormhole alien trying to rescue him. Number 5, the Black Hole Ultraviolet teaser. The guy that they questioned earlier in the episode completely got blown up, no cameras anywhere saw anything, but there's an ultraviolet wavelength signature on the little black hole pin, so very clearly Black Hole sent Ultraviolet to take care of this guy before he could offer up any information to Iris in her investigation. If you're not a big comic book reader, I definitely think they're going for the Iris Black Hole arc from the Flash Rebirth comics. She's not featured quite as prominently as she is on the TV show, but is part of the whole Flash Rebirth storyline. She starts to investigate Black Hole separately from Team Flash, because for a long time in the Flash Rebirth arc, she did not know that Barry was the Flash. They left that for way later. For the most part, Black Hole is just an evil organization that's in league with Gorilla Grodd, trying to manipulate and use the Speed Force for its own gain. It turns into a much bigger thing with Gorilla Grodd being the real big villain. I don't know how much of that they're going to do from the comics. For now, they're just teasing Black Hole as an organization, so they could introduce any of the characters from that Black Hole arc in the comics. Raijin and Mina are the two speedsters that we have not seen on the show yet that are connected to Black Hole, so I don't know if they're intending on doing either of those characters, but they did a lot of Mina's storyline with Nora last season. Number 4, Barry completely loses it on the Speed Force wormhole alien and tries to kill it in the form of his mother, just like Reverse Flash killed his mother during season 1. One of the biggest WTF moments of the episode is just him slowly going into negative Flash mode, the vicious version of Barry Allen that just gives in to all the negative emotions that he's had pent up this whole time, all the stuff that he hasn't dealt with yet. The really interesting thing in all this is that the Speed Force wormhole alien says that they do experience pain, just not as Barry knows it. So hopefully they'll double back on that in a future episode and just go deeper on it. Like, what is this pain that you're talking about? Does it have anything to do with the negative Speed Force? Either way, by this point in the episode, since it's a two-parter, you probably sense that he was definitely going to become the negative Flash by the end of the episode, so you kinda knew how they were gonna play this. I did like their execution though, the way they made it seem like he beat him when he came out of that coma. Also, interesting note, Killer Frost has a panic attack while this is all going on. She starts seeing visions of Ralph and just completely collapses. Part of the reason for doing that is to sort of give her some sort of problem of her own that she has to work through, some internal problem as they go into crisis, just to make things more complicated for her. But the plot-based reason is because they wanted Barry to turn into the negative Flash, and that wouldn't have happened had Caitlin been able to step in and help Barry. Number 3 was Iris writing the future newspaper article. If you go back and you read the original newspaper articles, sometimes they're too tiny to read the text, but I'd be willing to bet that there are a couple subtle minor changes, but you notice that the image of his face is way clearer. He has the new version of the costume with the chin strap, just like the one that they saw back in season 1. If you were to zoom in though, you would probably see some minor differences because they have made a couple minor changes to the story as things have happened in the last 6 years. But the next big WTF moment is Nash Wells gaining access to the Monitor's secret lair. Now, these 7 symbols are kind of mysterious, but I believe that they correspond to the 7 different paragons that he's going around assembling, like Barry Allen is a paragon, Oliver is a paragon, Kingdom Come Superman is a paragon. They're the A-list heroes that the Monitor is assembling for his team to fight the Anti-Monitor. He also name drops Infinite Earths, which is a reference to comic book Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I'm hoping that once he breaches this door, something will happen to him that will turn him into Pariah Wells. But when Barry wakes up out of the coma and everything seems like it's totally fine, he wants to get right back to work, most of you probably sensed what the twist was going to be, that he didn't beat Ramsey and he's just pretending to be okay. So number 1, Barry transforms into the negative Flash, or reveals himself as the negative Flash. He runs back to Ramsey, and it also seems like Ramsey has turned into more of a comic book version of Bloodwork, who's like really huge because he absorbs so much of the goo from different people. When he runs up, you see the shadow is really huge, then shrinks back down into a human form. So I'm guessing they'll show us what that actually looks like in part 2 of the mid-season finale, which will be next week. Then the week after that will be Crisis on Infinite Earths, episode 1. First episode is going to be Sunday night, second episode will be Monday, and then the third episode will be the Flash episode on Tuesday. Then they go on break for a couple weeks, come back at the end of January for parts 4 and parts 5, the Legends episode and the Arrow episode. If you're not a big comic book reader though, Barry was the Negative Flash in the comics when he fought Bloodwork, but the way he became Negative Flash was very different. The Reverse Flash pushed him into the Negative Speed Force, infecting him with that energy, and then he came back out as Negative Flash, this hulking monster that looks kind of like what they're doing on the TV show, but obviously the TV show has toned it way down. They're using the black goo to give him the Negative Speed Force effect, but he still kind of has black lightning like the black Speed Force lightning when he was the Negative Flash. If you spotted any other big Easter eggs in the episode that I didn't mention in the video, just write them below in the comments. I will do a trailer video for the next episode in the next couple of days, so look out for that. There's a new Mandalorian video coming really soon, so as long as you have alerts enabled for my channel, you should see those videos when I post them. Everyone, click here for the official Crisis on Infinite Earths trailer, and click here for the brand new Rick and Morty Season 4 Episode 4 trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.